Hey, it's Ethan here at etrailer. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Inno Gravity Ski and Snowboard Carrier on our 2021 Mazda CX-5. This is going to be for 3 fat skis or 2 boards. There is also an option for 6 fat skis or 4 boards if you need a little bit more space. But in general, if you're looking for a way to get your skis and snowboards where you need them to go, maybe you don't want to keep them inside the vehicle, they'll get icy and snowy, or they're just pretty bulky. A roof rack carrier like this is a great way to get them to the slopes, so let's check out how it works. To open the carrier up, the first thing we're going to do is push these buttons. They're a little bit recessed, so you should still be able to get them with your palm, but if you have big gloves or mittens on, it might prove to be a little bit tricky. Inside, you can see that there is this rubber molding on the top and the bottom. It's going to keep your gear safe and secure and keep it from sliding around too much. If we want to, we can get our skis out of the way, noting that the flaps that do come down on the front do not offer us a ton of clearance space to get those out, which we'll get to in just a little bit. Closing these down, we can take a closer look at why that is the case. So first thing I want to point out is that there are 2 stops. So there's 1 and then 2 to accommodate different size gear that you want to store in there. Additionally, we do have a lock core on the front at either side to secure our gear inside the jaws. But the reason these flaps on the side do extend so far down is because they are also locking the carrier to the crossbars. So they have the memory mount system, and as you can see right now, I won't be able to access it. So if I open these up, then I can pull this out of the way and we can see how the clamps work. So right now we have them at the desired tension, but if we need to loosen or tighten them, we'd use this gray knob. And then it remembers that tension, which is why it gets that name. And then we close it up, and again we would lock it by pushing this down. It doesn't have the most secure grip on our round crossbars here. I do like the memory mount clamps just because you only have to set that tension once, but I think they'd probably work a little bit better on aero or elliptical bars. They are rated to work with any sort of crossbars that you would throw at it, but again, I think that would just be a better case. Also, something that I would note just after testing a bunch of ski and snowboard carriers is that even without memory mount clamps, once you set the tension for your carrier or for your ski and snowboard carrier, it kind of is the same thing. So these are nice, but it's not a deal breaker or a make or break thing in my opinion. If you're curious to know what it would be like to live with these on your roof, I'll get a couple of measurements so you can see what that would look like. First, from the top of the crossbars to the top of the carrier, they do stick up quite a bit, especially with those clamps. So that's going to come in at about 6.5 inches added to the top of your crossbars. So that's something you're going to want to keep in mind as far as clearance. Can I store it in my garage? Anything like that. As far as from the top of the crossbar to where our gear is going to sit, that's going to be about 5 inches. So I don't see there being any issues with bindings or anything making contact with your roof. One benefit of this carrier is how compact they are on our crossbars. So we have 48-inch crossbars here, and we still have well over half in the event that we did want to get something else on here. I could see that being one of the most useful things about this carrier, but if you do end up getting the larger version, you're going to lose out on some of that space. Overall, if you're looking for a ski and snowboard carrier that's really compact and easy to install, if you want something that you can just take off, put back on pretty often, store in your garage when you're not using it, the Inno Gravity is definitely a really solid choice. If you do like the ski and snowboard carrier, I would maybe check out something like the Yakima Fat Cat Evo. It's a really solid value option. It's a little bit more low profile. You can get 4 sets of skis in there. Also, it's got a ski lift riser in the back, so if you do have some binding issues, you will get that clearance that you might need. But again, if you are looking for something that's super easy to take off, put back on, store in your garage when you're not using it, that's still going to get your gear where you need it to go really securely, I think the Inno Gravity is a really solid choice. This again was just a look at how it fits on our 2021 Mazda CX-5.